All right, so that's what ends up happening at the end of the play. Hope against hope. Be darned. You know, we knew it was coming. We knew it was going to happen. All the signs led to it, right? There's the doom, star-crossed lovers, the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. There's the stretching out of all these things that we were like, no, wait. And even in these dreams that Romeo was having, right? There was a dream that he had in Act 1, Scene 4, before the party, that Mercutio kind of like, man, he waved it off. Like he explained it away. Right? Romeo's like, I had this dream. It gave me a feeling that we shouldn't go to this party. And Mercutio's like, well, I had a dream too. And he over explains this dream that he may or may not have had. And Romeo's like, whoa, what do you mean, dude? Like that sounds like a whole bunch of nothing. And Mercutio's like, exactly, because that's what dreams are. Let's just go to this party. Also, remember at the beginning of Act 5, Scene 1 that we saw, in the first video, that Romeo had another dream. That's he dreamed that he was dead and that Juliet kissed him and brought him back to life. Right. So Romeo seems to have ESPN. But for whatever reason, it doesn't really make him stop or hesitate or just kind of keep going along this path toward his doom. And part of it is, Shakespeare definitely wants to say something about destiny, right? Like, hey, he lays out the plan at the very beginning of the play that two lovers are going to die at the end. Well, guess who they are? This is called the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. So Shakespeare's already being like, you know what? These two are going to die. They're going to die at the end of the play. But, like I said, these little things are happening throughout the play that make you go, no, they're not going to die. Maybe it's two other lovers, or maybe the tragedy is that they lose a child, or anything but them, right? But no, it's like their destiny. Right? It's set in stone that at the end of the play, Romeo and Juliet are going to die. Which, how does this relate to our own lives, right? Well, I mean, if you think about it, everybody in this room is going to die. Someday. I'm not saying like,
I'll be a robot.
I'll
be a robot.
You're going to be a robot? Hey, man. I mean,
that
does remind me, there's that, did you guys ever watch Black Mirror? On Netflix? Well, when you guys are old enough to be able to watch it, there's an episode of Black Mirror. Actually, this episode is one with Miley Cyrus in it, right? And in this episode, it's about a singer. I forgot exactly what the premise of the episode is. I just know that this singer is dying, or she's close to dying, and she's given the option to transfer her consciousness, her memories, or whatever to, I don't know, they called it this back then, to AI. So that even if she dies, she still kind of exists as an artist, right? And it's even a thing that AI does make possible, where a person, if they wanted to, if they had this capacity, let's say they started writing a journal from the time that they could start writing. And every day that they've written in this journal, every entry that they've written, when AI becomes available, they put every page of this journal into the AI so that it shares essentially a consciousness. So that, like, the person dies. But what if the family wants to, like, talk to them after they're dead?
It's not going to be the same person.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same person, but you could be like, hey, remember when this happened?
But it's a memory.
Yeah, and it's just a memory, right? So, that's just one of the things that you could think about with the ending of Romeo and Juliet. The other thing being, well, yeah, like I was saying, everybody, I mean, hey, some of us could get really lucky, but chances are in 100 years, all of us are either going to be dead or dying. But you know, technology and all this and that, yes, technology could change and maybe. But who wants to really? Like, who really wants to live forever? And you'll be okay. You'll be okay with everybody around you being gone and dying, and you'll never wonder if it really is better to be dead than alive.
It's better to be dead.
I don't know. Some people say that heaven is. Some people do say that heaven is a place on earth. But who knows? I don't know. You never know. Only the dead. Only the dead know for sure. But
It could be someone on the dead right here.
I mean, yeah. Well, that's one of the.
¿Cómo se llama ese spirit o
Like spirit. Well, yeah, like somebody with unfinished business. They say.
I hope because I never read some text. I mean, I can send them.
You can just do this. Wait for it. So, yeah, like, if you really think about it, maybe we're all already on our deathbeds, and this is just a memory, right? Maybe you're just thinking about all this happening as it happened a long time ago.
So, do you believe in, like, when they say, when you die, what happens? Or, like, when you die, what do you
Your life flashing before your eyes.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So, do you have Sebastian, please?
There's a lot of things I do think about. I'm not saying that I do believe in you know, one thing I do know for sure, I do believe in an afterlife. I do believe that there are things beyond this world that might be waiting for us at the
Yeah,
end.
80 is way 6.
Anyways. I mean, the one thing that we can truly call a destiny is that we're all destined to die, right? And that's not a way of saying we'll just give up then, right? Just go through the motions, just let whatever happens. Like, no, dude, like you still have to make your choices. Like there's still things to do along the way that is gonna affect the quality of that outcome. You can either die in peace in a nice, comfortable, actual deathbed, or you can die in the street. Right, or you know, any other, but yeah, it's our choices that lead us to whatever this outcome is going to be. And I think that's one of the things that Shakespeare was really trying to make clear with the play. You know, it's not just a sad story, but it's to make people think about their destiny. The other thing to think about is legacy. What is legacy?
What you like left behind.
Exactly, what it is that you leave behind. You know, if not after you die, then you know what it is that, you know, even though you're not around, what people remember about. Like for now, I can call this my legacy. It's whatever you guys remember from this year in high school that's gonna stick with you. And I hope, you know, it's a couple of things, right? It's how to be a sigma. No, not even a sigma, not an alpha. Greater than a sigma, greater than an alpha. I'm teaching you guys how to be omegas.
It's TSI.
Huh?
It's TSI.
It's a test to see if college is for you. Do it. No, you should do it. Let that be my legacy to you, my son.
Are you the smaller?
I'm
No.
There's I didn't have too many girlfriends in high school, so. Anyways, so legacy, right? I mean, if you think about it, what was the legacy of both the Capulets and the Montagues?
No.
Was it something good? Was it actually love?
No.
It's the opposite. What was it?
Hatred.
Right? The legacy up until Romeo and Juliet, the legacy of the Capulets and the Montagues was hatred and death and bitterness and rivalry. But hey, lo and behold, here you have the children of the Capulets and the Montagues, the last surviving ones, apparently, because Capulet only had Juliet, Montague only had Romeo. They came together, and yeah, maybe there could have been something that came from their letter to the stork. But no, it wasn't meant to be, right? And I think what I realized as I was teaching it today was nothing made it clearer than when it explained that Lady Montague, Romeo's mom, died from being so sad about, Romeo getting exiled, right? So what does that mean? Not even if that's it. There's no more Montague legacy. There's nobody to carry on to the Montague name. I mean, if she survived, and well, I guess at some point people do reconcile or they feel happy again. Maybe Lord Montague and Lady Montague could have had another baby, and that would have been the carrying on of their name. But again, it wasn't meant to be. So it's kind of a fulfillment of this legacy of death, where they had their chance to bear fruit, I guess you could say. But no, that's it. That's the end of that's the end of the family. That's the end of their flesh. That's the end of their biological line. But from both families, that's it. No more Montagues, no more Capulets. That's it. They're the last of their name. So what made that click is what I explained to you all before even getting into Romeo and Juliet about what Shakespeare's legacy was, right? He didn't have at this point, there's nobody else who has the Shakespeare name. He has no living descendants. The boy that he had that would have carried on his name if he had grown into adulthood died when he was a child. But the greatest play that Shakespeare ever wrote. Yeah, he shared. I mean, his boy's name was Hamnet, and his greatest play, if not that it's the greatest play, it's the longest play he ever wrote, was Hamlet. So even though his legacy doesn't survive biologically, there's that big old book, right? And that's what we have from Shakespeare today. Legacy goes a long way. There's also what I explained to you all about this scene from Troy, or the story of the Trojan War, about Achilles. His mom is a fortune teller, and that's why she took him to become unkillable, right? Because she saw this future where her son became a soldier, and she wanted to protect him. To be immortal, if not to be immortal, to be invulnerable, right? Not that she wants him to be a god, but at least so that he won't be harmed by weapons, because Domingo's going to grow up to be a soldier, let me protect him. But he has a choice to make, to either, because now, all that Achilles thinks that he's good for is fighting and killing and death, but he wants to settle down, it seems. So he goes to his mom again, the fortune teller, and he asks her a question: should I stay or should I go? So showing is better than telling. Let me show you the scene. Brad Pitt as Achilles. His mother.
I knew they would come for you long before you were born. I knew they would come for you. Watched the fighting your eye. I'm making you another seashell necklace. Like the ones I used to make you when you were a boy. Remember? You stay in Larissa. You will find peace. You'll find a wonderful woman. You'll have sons and daughters, and they will have children. And they will love you. When you're gone, they will remember you. When your children are dead, and children after them, you'll be lost. To Troy, glory begins. They will write stories about your victories for thousands of years. All of what you meant by your name. You go to Troy. You'll never come home. Your glory walks hand in hand with your doom. Actually,
So the choice is, would you rather have the love of family or the glory of people remembering you for years and years and years to come? And so he got on the boat. And so his choice, even though he knew that this was going to be certain death, he joined the Greek fleet of 1,000 ships to the Trojan War. As kind of a preview, guys, that is the next thing that I do want to teach, because there's like 2 weeks left. And I've always believed that these are pretty important stories for y'all to learn, just like they were for me to learn. So, hey, little preview, that's what's coming up next. But as far as legacy is concerned, yeah, legacy as far as Romeo and Juliet are concerned, there's no physical legacy of their name, right? Or there's no physical legacy of their children, and the legacy of their last names. I mean, that's in that universe, no, right? But as kind of a way, what we saw what happened at the end, Montague and Capulet finally squashed the beef, right? And Montague promised Capulet what? What did he say that he was going to do for Capulet? He said he was going to make something or build something.
Who?
Montague, Romeo's dad, promised Juliet's dad that he was going to build something.
A gold statue.
A gold statue.
And he'll do the same for
And likewise, Capulet promised a gold statue of Romeo.
other two gifts.
Right. Now we know
Really,
what lasts longer. Statues, gold, or flesh.
gold statue.
Right. So in a way, yeah, no more flesh, no more names, at least not their legacy of their family name, but they do have something that's going to survive long after everybody's dead, right? But then again, you do have this last part that when you read it closely, there's a word in this. There's a word in this last excerpt. What is the most important word in this excerpt? Huh? One word.
Sorry.
Huh?
Sorry.
That is what matters more than anything. The story of Romeo and Juliet, right? 400 years ago, it was written, You know, it really goes to show the longevity of a story. And who knows? I mean, Shakespeare, when he wrote these stories, some of them were based in truth. I mean, for sure, there were definitely stories of families that were at war with each other. That all that's left of this, you know, in the end is just petty squabbling, right? Because, you know, what do you get out of that, right? Yes, like for however many years, this family gets what they want, and then, you know, another family comes along and they get what they want, and so on and so forth and so on and so forth, right? But what remains is the story. You know, in other words, we don't know who were the inspiration for Romeo and Juliet, right? But what did remain is the story of two families at war with each other that were redeemed by love. Which, you know, I think I'll leave this as the last point. How, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys know your Christian history, or your Judeo-Christian biblical history, where Jesus was put to death by essentially the Roman Empire. Right? And you hear so much about the Roman Empire, how Rome was just this one little city and it expanded all the way out to all these countries they ruled over. But at some point you had the fall of the Roman Empire, and then it kind of collapsed back on itself. And yeah, they did what they did to Jesus. But, you know, in that expansion, they built so much, they put up so much, you know, their way of life, their buildings, their statues, so on and so forth. But at some point, now you have what are called ruins, right? Sometimes, you know, these places that you call ruins, including the Colosseum, you know, the Colosseum, the Roman Colosseum, where the gladiators would fight, and it's a big old arena. I mean, does it look the same way that it did back then? No. Was there parts of it that collapsed, and you know, it doesn't look the same way it did? In other words, but what do we have left from that event? I mean, yeah, you know, Rome is left in ruins, but do we still have a story?
Yeah.
For sure. It's the Bible, right? Everything that we know about the life of Christ, it starts there, right? So, huh?
It's like this story.
Yeah, I mean, the point I'm getting at is, you know, stories are the things that last forever. And yeah, even though that all we have left of the Roman Empire is like ruins, I mean, if you think about it, what lasts longer? Stone, stories.
Story.
Class dismissed. All right. And